Hello and welcome to episode 94 of Ready to Mosh. I'm Kev P and alongside me is the alien to my weaponry. It's Jem G.
Calling me an alien?
Yeah.
Okay, I do. Been called worse.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right, so this week we have guest interview and we've got Charlie and Joel from Harbinger, who we've seen before, and it does seem a long time ago, but we saw them at Mangata.
Yeah, back in July. Feels a lifetime ago, but it was about 2 months.
And we had a chat with them before they play at Derby Altfest in a couple of weeks on the Friday. Right, so for this episode, we've got a very special guest interview. One of the bands that we're looking forward to seeing, which are Harbinger, and we've got Charlie and Joel. How you doing, guys?
Oh, good.
Hey, doing good.
Yeah, all good.
Excellent. So we'll kick straight off. Do you guys want to tell us, kind of, for people who maybe aren't familiar with you, sort of like how the band began?
I could go into like real detail on exactly how the band started, which would be a very long story. But I'll cut it down. Essentially, I went to a festival in 2013 called Tech Fest, which unfortunately is no longer running at the moment. I met our bass player at the time, Milky, and we hit it off like a house on fire, got on really well. He was saying like, he needs a drummer for his band, and I just left my band at that time. So I signed up with his band, which was called Immerse at the time. And then eventually that sort of evolved into becoming Harbinger. And then Charlie and Ben and Tom all tagged along as well. And then we eventually got Dylan later on down the line, and that's kind of like the history of it.
The snapshot.
Yeah. There's like an hour-long story I could tell you just on how everything really started and evolved over time. But I don't think we have time for that today.
And in terms of your influences then, are you all pretty similar in the band, or is there quite a lot of variety across everyone?
Big variety for sure.
Yeah.
We all have our like similarities for sure. Like I'm pretty sure certain everyone in the band loves Gojira equally. But then we have like our fan favorites, like my favorite band of all time is Fear Factory. I'm pretty sure Dylan's is
Black Dahlia Murder, maybe?
I was gonna say that's yours.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Black Dahlia Murder are definitely one of my favourites. But I think, yeah, that's where me and Dylan cross over because he loves them too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, who were you thinking for Dylan?
Well, I know Ben loves Decapitated.
Yeah.
That's definitely his favourite. And then Milky's is
Coheed and Cambria.
Coheed and Cambria, that's it. I couldn't remember the name. I can't remember the band's name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I know who it is. And as soon as someone says it, I'll be like, "That's Dylan's favorite band."
Parkway Drive? Old Parkway Drive? No, probably not.
I mean, everyone loves Old
Yeah.
Parkway Drive, and maybe not the new stuff, but you know.
Yeah, I think probably along with Black Dahlia Murder, Between the Buried and Me, are like one of my favorite bands of all time. So sort of, I bring in the prog influence a little bit, even though we don't sneak that much of it into our sound. But yeah, even the riffing side of Between the Buried and Me, I think comes out in my style. But I think more recently, I've always loved death metal, but like I'm so into like death metal bands at the moment. Like there's like a whole wave of old and new death metal bands that are just killing it at the moment. So that's pretty great.
So songwriting process for you guys, kind of how does that sort of become, where does it start and to get to kind of a completed song?
This is something that we're actually evolving at the moment, and with the last release, A Letter to Anguish, we evolved the writing process a bit. I think, in fact, we have done since the first single. So the band released a single called Human Wisdom before I joined, and then I joined shortly after that because you guys were just playing as a 5-piece with like another guitar on the backing track, weren't you? I think.
Yeah, just a 4-piece, and then I don't even think we had a backing track at that point.
Yeah, because I think when I eventually saw the band, because Ben, our other guitarist, was like, "Oh man, you've got to come and see my new band," because me and Ben had like played multiple shows. I think maybe even like my old band and Joel's old band might have played a show together. Like just the whole scene. Like we definitely crossed over at points, but didn't necessarily know each other. But me and Ben knew each other quite well, and he was like, "You got to come and see us," and I missed them like first 2 or 3 times I tried to catch the set, and then when I finally did catch the set, which was funny enough, it was another Tech Fest show in Croydon. I think it was a tech habilitation or something like that.
Oh, was it the Scream Lounge gig where we were the like not so secret band?
No, that I was in the band then for that one.
Oh yeah, of course you were.
Yeah. But the I remember, I think it was like November 2015, and I just watched the guys play, and I wasn't really doing anything band wise then, and I just said to Ben, like, "What are you going to do with another guitarist?" And he was like, raising his eyebrows, like, "Why?" Just like, "You're in if you want to be in, mate." Like, I still auditions and stuff, but yeah, I guess that goes back to the story of like how the band came to be. But with the writing process, the first EP was already written when I joined. So, but the guys are very open to me bringing in some influence to it. So like I had a few ideas and we jammed some stuff in the rehearsal space, and then we recorded that one, and then it sort of evolved into me and Ben started working a bit together, because Ben would like come up with the like mains, as I like to call them, skeletons of like the songs, and then the rest of us would like bring our part to the songs, or our flair to the songs, and then it would become a Harbinger track. But yeah, from the second EP, Human Dust, I would work a bit more closer to Ben, and I would have some skeletons of songs. And then with the album Compelled to Suffer, that became even more of a thing. But when Tom left and Dylan joined the band, it was very clear that a lot of us wanted more input into the songwriting side of it. Like we all had ideas and stuff like that. So we started to become more collaborative, and we came around here, around mine, and we had like multiple meetings where we'd like listen to demos and chat about them and work on arrangements together. And that's something that we really want to do going forward. Like our next step, because we've got loads of demos to work on, but we want to be together and turn them into Harbinger tracks, rather than whether that's like on Zoom or on Discord, like talking about it and working on projects whilst we have like Logic open or Reaper open, and or we'd really love to get in a room together and just see what happens. So it's an evolving process. And
yourself and I have literally written parts together just like through Discord and Zoom, where like you would have a riff and I'd be like, "Oh, can you change it this way? I'm going to write a drum pan to it," and I send it over to you, and then you re-record it, and it's like, "Oh, that sounds sick, like let's use that."
Yeah, that's it's a really interesting thing, because we all live very far apart from each other now, and the fact that seems to work, like I want to do, me and Joel both want to do more of that, where literally just like this online, and I've got like Logic open, and I've got this riff idea. Have you got any drum parts? And then he'll quickly like program it out and send it to me, and then I'll just put it in the project, and we listen back, and it's like, wow, this is really working. And by the end of like an hour or two, we've got like a demo idea of like a song. And so yeah, that's using technology is like a big thing for us, I guess.
Yeah, it was a really, really like efficient exercise that we got to try out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For someone who's new to Harbinger, then what 3 tracks would you recommend that they listen to as a starting point?
Should we give you 3 each, or?
Yeah, why not?
I'm interested to see what Joel would say. And
I'm just trying to remember my own band song names, to be honest. At first, like
you can play them, but can't remember the names.
Yeah, I can play it, but I can never remember the names.
Yeah, in the In-Ears Live, we have like cues saying what song it is coming up next. in a really funny voice as well, which Dylan recorded.
Yeah.
It's like basically just like a robot impression or something like that. I would say, I think of what Harbinger is now, my opinion would be something from the new record, A Letter to Anguish. And I reckon Hate File, Guile, and Prayer of Deliverance are probably the 3 that show what Harbinger's all about, and maybe what we're going to be about in the future. But who knows really how the next record will come out. But the thing is, there's like tracks like A Letter to Anguish and Guiltless, which are a bit more melodic, which is also part of our sound. Like we kind of, a lot of people have interviewed us before sort of said they they haven't been able to pigeonhole us into a certain subgenre of metal, and I think that's really what we're about. Like just doing what we feel is right and what we enjoy, and writing for ourselves as much as for other people to enjoy it. I think writing for ourselves comes first.
For sure. I think I'd have to say the same three songs, but if I could swap one out, I'd probably swap Guile with Antagonist, because that's got some really big parts in it, which kind of act like sing-alongs in a way, because the vocals aren't super intense in like the chorus, and that you can actually understand what Dylan's saying, which I know is like a difficulty most regular people have when listening to metal. They always go, "Oh, is it that screamo stuff?" It's like, fuck off, And so you can actually understand what Dylan's saying. You can maybe like relate to it a bit more in some way or another. And it's definitely more of a progress song compared to the other two. So yeah, Hate File, Antagonist, and Prayer Deliverance for me.
Yeah, Antagonist was on the tip of my tongue. I think that's a big thing about our sound that we want to bring forward, is like the person that wrote our bio sort of described, anthemic choruses. The kind of like big choruses which kind of sound epic, and they're almost like sing-alongs, but they still got that gritty metal kind of tone to them. I think that's something we want to bring forward for future releases. Like actually thinking, okay, what is a chorus in this song? Is there a chorus? But then again, sometimes there'll be songs where it's like there's no, it's a progressive structure rather than like a B C or whatever, kind of typical song structure.
And just on new music, so what are the plans for new music for you guys? And will you be playing any at Derby Alt Fest if there's some in the pipeline?
I don't think we'll be playing anything new at Derby Alt Fest, unfortunately.
We tried to at Tech Fest.
Yeah, we played. We wanted to play like a new song, but we weren't in the situation. Well, at the time we weren't in the situation where we could like say, okay, this song we're definitely going to release, or I think we were all kind of that's something that we still need to do, get together and decide, okay, which songs do we want to take forward this time, and do we want to write something completely new? Like, does anybody have any? So we're not really in the position to play a new song. I think because so since we did a lot of touring last year, and then we finished off in February where we did like a little run in Ireland. And we all said after that, we were like, look, no more gigging. Like, we need to actually take time off gigging to focus on writing. I think that's something that we've really realized now, is that, we're taking a lot of time to go and play gigs, but we're not taking time to just get together and finalize new material. So we said that, and then we had a bit of a break after the Ireland tour, and then shows started getting booked for spring and summer, and now we've had a fairly busy. Well, we've had pretty busy spring and summer, and now we've just got like a few shows to finish off in October, and it's like, oh, where's the time gone?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of time has passed really quickly for us. So now we actually have to be let's be sensible and not play any more gigs until we have at least like a couple of new singles to release. So that, I think that's our plan first, do like a couple more singles, like 2 or 3 maybe, and then see how they land and go, and see what tours come up for 2024. And I think most of us are hoping that in 2024 sometime we'll actually take some time out and write an album together, because that's not really what with the last full-length album we didn't do that. It was very much like, here's some, like, Ben had some song skeletons, I had some song skeletons, and then it was like, okay, which ones do we want to be on the album? Okay, let's finalize them, but we didn't really do too many tweaks to them, whereas actually we want to be like together, so that if somebody's just got an idea in a moment that everybody's digging, it's like, okay, let's turn this into a song. Clearly, like, everybody's loving it. So yeah, I think that's about right, isn't it, Joel? A few singles and then maybe sometime next year write full length.
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to wait and see, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of, because you never know, we might release. We definitely want to get some new songs out. Like, we're so desperate to do it, and that's why we would need to take some time out. Because otherwise, I think we'd probably all get a bit miserable. Like, we obviously love the songs that we're playing and we've written, but there's that kind of creative need of like
something new.
We all need to like create something new, and we want to start playing something new. And people that support the band are saying like, "Oh, I can't wait for the next thing." So that kind of like pushes us a bit more. So I think once we've done that, see what happens, because you never know, we might end up with like another couple of UK tours, another European tour, then some festivals, and then that's another year gone. But if that happens, that's amazing, of course. But if that happens, then again we'd have to be like, no more gigs. We're going to write an album, So, but for nothing comes up, because we're an independent band. We don't have like a full-time booking agent. We manage ourselves, and there's only like a few people that we sort of regularly work with for like PR. And it's not like we can kind of go like, okay, we want to do like some extensive touring and festivals. Then there's a few booking agents that we do go to and we work with, but we're not full time with them, and so it's kind of like, it's hard to, as an independent band, to be like, yes, we're definitely going to be doing this next year. Like we're planned for it, but if those tours don't come through or we don't get those festival slots, it's kind of like, okay, maybe we'll book our own tour, like short tour, and then just spend the time getting loads of other new music ready. So we've been quite lucky, especially last year, because of the tours we got offered. But I think that's the scary thing. You can't always rely on it until you've actually, you've like signed a deal with like a booking agent or a label or something like that.
So just looking back at Compelled to Suffer, then you released an instrumental version of that. We were just wondering what the reasoning behind doing the instrumental version was.
Yes, it was the transition between us working on new material, because I think Compelled to Suffer came out May 2019. And then Tom left at the end of 2019, like our old vocalist. And Dylan had actually joined a few months later, but we didn't announce him till 2021. So we were working with him behind the scenes for a long time. And we weren't quite there with the mini album or the EP, A Letter to Anguish, that we were releasing. So we were like, oh, that's kind of, what about if we do an instrumental release an instrumental version? Like, there was lots of bands doing it, or they're still doing it. And the big thing was, because we released a tab book for Compelled to Suffer, which behind me over there, there's like a hard book tab book that we put together. Like, Ben put a lot of hours into making sure that all the tabs were correct, and there was a lot of to and fro between me and Chris, our bassist, just kind of making sure that all the parts were right with Ben. And so yeah, we released that, and we thought that releasing an instrumental version of the album would be good to go hand in hand with that. And I think that's something that we'd like to do again. Like, we've put together all the tabs for like the new release, like A Letter to Anguish. We might not release it physically at the moment, but I think once we release those digitally on our website, then we might release digital versions of the last release too. But that was the main thing, so that people could actually listen to it without the vocals, and just get a different perspective, even though it's the same mix as the normal album, just without the vocals there as a layer. They might just get a different perspective of the songs.
Okay, so we've seen you guys live before. But for anybody who hasn't, what can they expect?
Just a good metal show, really. Like, that's
just a good metal show, mate.
Like, yeah, no, for real. Like, I think we bring a really good energy to our show, and I've always had like really good positive feedback from people. Apart from this one guy who at Tech Fest, he was really like steaming drunk. He came up to us and he was like, "You guys in Harbinger?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wow, you guys absolutely sucked." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that."
What was that this year?
No. This was like 2019.
the first year, or?
I think it was 2019.
Oh, right, okay. So when we released Compelled to Suffer, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, because I think Dylan was in the band at the time.
Oh, really?
He,
So that, yeah.
he was saying that like there was like another band who he absolutely loved. I remember he was wearing the same shirt as them, and I was just like, okay, he's definitely a fanboy for those guys. So it's all right. Everyone's got their opinion. It's okay. But yeah, that was funny for me anyway. I love that
Yeah,
moment.
I had no idea that somebody said that. Yeah.
You might have been in like your Airbnb. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a Harbinger show, just like expect to come and have fun and like enjoy a good metal show. Like I don't think we can get really pigeonholed into anything. I just like it's just a metal show with us because we are just a metal band. Like I've always been like about that sort of statement. Like people will try and pigeonhole us into like, oh, you're like a tech death band, you're a tech deathcore band, and like it's just metal.
Yeah.
Don't pigeonhole it. Like just let it be what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a. I think we bring a great metal show. Like there's circle pits, there's throwing down, there's wall of deaths, there's fist pumping. A lot of us love hardcore music as well, and so to have that kind of bring a bit of hardcore energy as well as metal energy to our show is definitely what we're all about. And Dylan really feeds off the crowd, like I'm sure a lot of front men do. So, if he gets a bit bummed out sometimes if the crowd are very much like watchers rather than doers, and I'm always having to tell him like, I tend to like look at the crowd a lot when I'm playing and like try and make eye contact with people that are really digging it, and that's like really fun for me to do. So I often tell Dylan if it's still a good show, like I was getting vibes off people in the crowd, just because they were watching and absorbing doesn't mean they were enjoying it. But he's still like, yeah, I know, man. Like, yeah, but it's such a big thing for me, the energy. Like, if there's no pits and stuff, like, it's so hard. And I've heard from other front men that, like, they've given me the perspective of, it's hard if you're that type of person that just needs to feed off other people's energy at the show.
It's all right for me. I normally can't see a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like smoke and
just smoke machines.
Lights.
I can't see a thing. They can't see me. I'm in my own world. It's great.
You hear that from a lot of drummers, actually. They just kind of they just go like they got their in-ears in, they can hear what they need to, and they just just do their thing. Meditation.
literally for me. Yeah.
So you've just finished up the tour with Signs of the Swarm. Were there any particular highlights from that run of dates?
Just getting to hang with all of our like previous touring friends again. It was great.
Yeah.
There was lots of new faces with like the Mental Cruelty guys because they'd had like lineup changes, and some of their members were actually ill, so they couldn't make it on the tour. So they had like a filling guitarist, a guy called Jan, who I got on really well with, and it was just like another awesome tour because we got to be with around so many friends. I think something like 4 or 5 of the shows were sold out, so everything was great. To be honest, like it's no complaints from me on that tour. It was a really, really good time.
Yeah, it was a really good tour, and it felt straight away it was like part 2. It felt like part 2 for us because it was 2019. We were with Mental Cruelty on the Sounds of Carnage tour that was with Rings of Saturn and Necroblicon, and but yeah, there was only one original member that was actually on the tour, as Joel was saying. But it was lovely to meet all the new guys, and yeah, it just felt like part 2 of that. And then with Signs of the Swarm, they were on the Decapitated tour with us last year, and it just felt like we were carrying on from then, except they were the headliners. London was an amazing show, big one for us. I feel like we love playing the Underworld, and that's really, it was a sold out show, which is obviously big thing for Signs of the Swarm because it was their headline show, and that's something that we'd love to be able to do in the near future, like get to the point where we can sell out the Underworld and similar size venues. It's what I think we're working towards,
Right. We're going to move now on to the quickfire questions. So we've got 8 random questions. We've got a whole bunch of them, but we give them a good shuffle. And we've got 8 for you guys, so whatever comes into your head first, just go with it.
Okay.
So, what was the first gig that you watched?
Steps, Party in the Park.
Nice.
Wasn't expecting that.
No, I did not see that coming.
First thing that pops into my head is probably like seeing it live rather than on TV.
Yeah.
The first thing that pops into my head is, I think they were called Flood of Red. They're a Scottish band. But they came. I used to live in the Isle of Man, and they came over to the Isle of Man, and it was in a small pub, and it was crazy. Like, the pub got destroyed, basically. But yeah, that was a good one. Might not have been the first gig, but that's the first thing that I can remember.
What are your favourite crisps?
I was talking about this the other day.
I want to say Monster Munch, Flaming Hot.
I think it's got to be Skips because I love prawn cocktail flavour.
Yeah, I was thinking about them the other day.
Strong contender.
I don't think we've had either of those flavours before.
I thought someone has said Skips, but I can't remember who.
I've literally just done a poll on my Instagram feed or on my story of because I needed to settle a similar debate last night of what's better of the knickknacks flavour, the ribs and saucy or nice and spicy. So I've got to ask you two what your picks would be.
Ooh.
Just from the knickknacks?
Yeah. And the scampy ones don't count. The scampy ones can get in the bin. I don't care who says anyone who says that scampy ones are good. You're wrong. You're illegal. Like, it's ribs and saucy or nice and spicy.
I'd go nice and spicy. I think they're the classic.
Yeah, I think I'll probably do the same.
I would do the same too.
Okay, cool. I'll add it to the poll.
It's funny because I said Flaming Hot Monster Munch, and I haven't had that in years. But it was like the first thing that popped into my head. So clearly, I need to go down the shop and get a packet. You know.
That's it. I'm straight out for some knickknacks, like a variety pack, just to work out which one, just to make sure I'm right.
Yeah.
It's purely scientific.
Yeah.
What was the last song you listened to?
So I was at a musical last night, which I guess counts, but like I can't say what the song was. I can't even remember what the musical was called. It was really good. It was about the artist called I can't remember his surname. His name's George, and he's the guy that did the first person to do like the dots, like kind of
like the Damien Hirst dot,
maybe like
that kind of collection.
Yeah, it's like it's where like he does like for example, like a dot of yellow and a dot of, I'm going to get it wrong now. I'm not an artist. Dot of yellow, dot of blue. I think they're next to each other and the eyes see green. So it's science as well as art. Pretty nuts.
I have just remembered Dylan's favourite band, Dance Gavin Dance. That's his favourite band.
Oh, yeah.
But also, it could be Parkway Drive. It could be Old Parkway. So now that's out of the way, and that's finally out of my head. I think Zwielicht going into Symphony of a Dying Star is probably the last song I listened to by Mental Cruelty, because something about like that intro song going into Symphony is just like sick. And like every night on tour, I made sure I watched it. So that was a really, really good experience about that tour as well.
The musical, I think it's called Sunday in the Park with George.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's about that George Seurat, is it? Yeah. Yeah. Like it was really cool. It was in a tiny little theatre in Guildford, and there was no stage. Like, we were in the front row as well, and it was just like they're all right in front of us. And I think like there was just like piano, cello, and violin were the only instruments. But yeah, it was really great. So that they were the last songs I listened to. But I can tell you any of the names of them.
What was the first album you owned?
I think it was 5. Is it Invincible?
Ooh.
I was a massive 5 fan when I was a kid.
There's so many things that I was not expecting to hear.
I can't remember the first album I owned, but I can remember picking up my first album for the first time from, weirdly enough, Blockbuster, when it was still around, when they apparently had CDs in there. But I picked up And Justice for All by Metallica, because my friend Leo at the time, he used to just like download all the albums. So I'm sure he'd be really good friends with Lars Ulrich. And he was like, "Oh man, you've got to get this like album, man, Justice for All." And like he showed me Blackened for the first time, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's such a sick riff." And I just walked down to Blockbuster instead of HMV, which was just further down the road, and they had it. So I was like, "I'm buying it," and it was like $8.99 at the time, which is insane for pricing on albums compared to how much they are now. I've seen some go for like $16.99, which is crazy. But that's like the first album I've ever like physically owned by myself.
Yeah, I think my dad then shortly after got out his Black Sabbath Paranoid vinyl and was like, "Son, listen to this."
Oh, it's like a passing of the torch.
Yeah. I was just, like, when I was a young kid, like probably between the age of 5 and 10, I was a sucker for like boy band music. It's just like, but then my parents like listened to a lot of classic rock and classic metal, like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. But then my mum was into Bon Jovi and my dad liked Oasis as well. So we had such like, it was kind of all rock realm with pop tingled in there, but it was there's always like a variety of music in my house, and I always think fondly back to Friday nights at my house where it was kind of like a family thing where my dad would like put on a load of different music and we just sort of like chill as a family and listen to it. Good memory.
So, what's your favorite film?
Aliens.
That was quick, man.
That was very quick.
I've literally downstairs got like a massive like 3D poster of the film. Like I love it so much. It's hands down the best film ever made.
Probably Lord of the Rings for me. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Does that count? It's not a film, but it's a trilogy.
Well, I suppose I see it's counted as one.
Yeah.
It's
one long story.
It is one long story, yeah.
Very long.
Yeah. It's like I try not to think about modern ones. Because like if you think about like the most recent films, then you're like, oh, that maybe that one. And then I was just like, no, of all time, first thing that comes to your head.
Who was the last band you watched live?
Probably Signs of the Swarm.
Oh yeah, I was
from the tour that we did.
Yeah, I was gonna say Periphery because like I thought straight back to the last headline
at Radar Fest.
Radar Festival, yeah. Or the last headliner that I watched at Radar Festival, but then I was like, oh yeah, I was on tour. Like, yeah, I guess Signs of the Swarm. Or did we watch them? It's like sometimes on tour you don't like after you played your set, you want to go get food or you want to chill and stuff like that. But definitely watched them a bunch of times though on that tour.
If you could be a biscuit, what biscuit would you be?
Anything from the Foxes range, to be honest. Or maybe I can't remember like the proper name for them. They're kind of like a custard cream, but like the Foxes version of it. And it's like the biscuit's like really, really crunchy, but then like it's like a buttermilk cream on the inside, and it's just like it's.
Oh, I know which ones you're on about. Yeah,
that's probably the one I'd be.
I reckon a hobnob.
Yeah, my favourite. It's the biscuit of camping choice, I think.
Nice, yeah, definitely packet of hobnobs.
Yeah,
I feel like that's really British as well.
Final quickfire one then. What would be your dream tour lineup? And you can include yourselves on that if you want to.
Do you want one each from us? Or?
Yeah.
I got to really think about this.
How many bands?
Entirely up to you.
Oh,
it's your tour, not ours.
I reckon for me, headliner Gojira, main support the Black Dahlia Murder, then us. That'd be sick. And then that'd probably be enough. But I would put us maybe like second or third because we've only ever opened for so far. So like we really want to like be the second or third band for the next one.
We can put our boys from Beyond Extinction to open for us.
Oh yeah. Like our merch manager Jasper, his band Beyond Extinction. They'd be a good opener.
Yeah, really solid. I think for me, I'm trying to think of like what bands like individually have like significant influence on me. So maybe like old Slipknot headlining. So like up to like All Hope Is Gone. We'll raise a few people from the dead, Then Gojira supporting them, Fear Factory supporting Gojira, and then I'll throw us on there and put Beyond Extinction opening. Yeah.
I'll probably throw Rivers of Nile into the lineup of mine.
That's a good one too. That's a good one. Yeah, they were great.
That touring with those guys last year was just a dream. I think every band that was on that tour said the same thing. Just like all 5 bands were just.
Actually, I'll just scrap everything I've said and just say that Faces of Death tour that we did with Rivers of Nile is literally my dream tour, because it's a tour which was for like a significant length of time. Every single person in every one of those bands was lovely to be around. No one was like a nuisance or like difficult to be with. All the bands were amazing. Everyone performed incredibly well that entire tour. It was literally just a dream to be a part of.
Yeah.
And that's not even giving them enough praise as well. Like, they deserve so much more praise as well.
We prepared ourselves for the worst as well.
Yeah,
because whenever you're like because we're still like a small band compared to like the other bands that are on that tour, we always kind of think, okay, this could be one of those tours that could be super difficult, like what you call it, a bit of a hierarchy with the like headliners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we prepared ourselves for the worst, and it was just like the complete opposite. I think because we arrived at the first venue just before them, and they were all on the bus and we were in a sleeper van, and I think they were all kind of like, oh yeah, should we like mess with them and stuff like that, just as a bit of a joke to start off with. And I think they said that they met us and we were just all so nice to them when they got there. We're like, we can't do that to these guys. So like literally from like the moment we met them, it was just like, yeah, it was just like a family pretty much straight away. But especially after the first show, because like you got to make sure that everybody's like efficient and like getting on with like the sound checks and can actually do their job well, rather than like being like slow and lazy and unprofessional. And then once we were over that hurdle, it was like, all right, everybody's good with that. It was just like a dream. So
yeah, and like if anyone like needed anything, like it didn't matter what band you were in, like everyone was there to just help everyone. Like everyone wanted to make sure everyone else was having a good time and enjoying themselves on the tour, because I think every single band, including us, had been, we've all done tours for a number of years and we've all had good and bad experiences, and everyone just wanted to make sure it was just a consistent of like good experience.
Well, that's the last of the quickfire. So we'll get back to the normal questions now. So talking about Derby Alt Fest, how did you get added to the lineup? And have you guys been to the festival before?
I don't think we've played or been, because we all live in the south. Well, apart from Joel now, who's in Liverpool.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a northerner.
Yeah, I don't think we played, but we played the venue maybe 3 times before for different like all dayers and stuff like that. But yeah, just one of the organisers, Liam, just hit us up and said, "I'd like you guys to play," and we had a quick discussion. We're like, "Yeah, let's do it. It'd be a good show. We like playing that venue, and I think we've got some followers in around that area. So yeah, it should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
Looks like it's going to be busy as well.
Yeah, from kind of like what we've been seeing, I think it is going to be absolutely packed.
Yeah, I can't believe it's like that many days at the same venue. That's quite a big one for Unearthed Music for doing that, and they got some pretty solid bands on the lineup.
Yeah, they've really shown an investment and kind of commitment to it, so it looks like it's going to be really good.
Definitely.
And just want to talk a bit about your artwork, because you've got some really cool artwork on both the music and your merch as well. Is that something that's designed within the band, or do you work with other people on that?
It's a little bit of both. Like, I think for band artworks, not including merchandise, but maybe a few pieces of merchandise back in the day, I would always draw up like rough sketch designs of everything, because I used to do art a lot as a kid. before I just gave up to it and focused on music entirely. And then I would send those to the guys. Some of them would say yes, some would say no, and then we'd all sort of like decide on which ones we liked from what I'd drawn, and then we just fire them up to other creative types who are far better and far more skilled than us at coming up with designs, and they'll take those designs and really evolve them into what they are now. And I think for a lot of our designs, we've gone with a guy called Shindy, who's done.
He did the
piece that he done for us. Was it just Compelled to Suffer? But he also did like some merch pieces as well.
He did. Shindy did the Compelled to Suffer artwork, and then what usually happens is like when we sort of commission somebody to work for us, we usually say like, you know, can we include in the price like getting the Photoshop files so that then we can manipulate them into merch designs and stuff like that. So which Milky or Chris, our bassist, he does a lot of the graphic design. He basically does all the graphic design for merch. And then if the inspiration's not really there, or it's something that he thinks that we need somebody else to do, then we'll outsource the work. And but even then, whenever we outsource, we always like, you know, can we like for a little bit more, or like in the same price, can we get like the full workable files, because they might manipulate even more and stuff like that. And it's all the designs are pretty much from the band, but we also do work with some external artists, and a lot of time if we like working with somebody, we go back to them, you know, create that sort of relationship we can just go back to them every time.
And are you guys going to have merch at the festival?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Have you ever seen the Harbinger merch stand?
I don't think we did, because it was a
Yeah, we didn't go near the merch much at Mangata.
No,
because it was a bit tucked away.
Yeah, like for a lot of at the start of the festival at Mangata, we didn't even realise where the merch was, because it was just kind of like stuck in that corner, and just genuinely didn't realise where it was. And we just spent all day kind of like wandering around going, I wish I'd got some merch. Everybody got merch here.
Yeah, there was you were restricted to a certain amount of time and a certain amount of items at Mangata, and there wasn't a lot of room as well. So it might be the same at Derby Alt Fest, but hopefully they've got like a decent amount of space. But yeah, we'll definitely have merch with us. Like that's I guess we love our merch, and it's like part of a big part of the band as well. It's almost like we have a clothing brand as well as being a band. It's something that we invest a lot of time and money into, and it's as you probably know, it's the thing that keeps the wheel turning for most bands these days. So we'll definitely have some, and hopefully some new stuff. We sold out of a lot of stuff on the Signs of Sworn tour, so we'll hopefully have some new stock for it.
It's the Friday night that you're playing at Derby Alt Fest then, so is it just Friday that you're going to be there, or are you going to be around for the whole of the festival?
I don't think we've fully decided yet. Depends on, I think potentially just the Friday, just because we all have like a lot of we have some very, very much separate lives outside of the band at some time.
Yeah, I'll be down just for the Friday because I've got to get back to Liverpool.
Yeah, and plus we've also, in the last meeting we had, there was a suggestion that maybe we should do the show, then spend some time together the next couple of days to work on some music. So see what happens though. That's still to be determined.
And then after Derby Alt Fest, have you got any more live dates planned this year?
No, I think there's one gig after Derby Alt Fest, which is a private gig, because somebody has booked us for their wedding.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Yeah, a couple in I think they're based in Swansea or somewhere in South Wales. Anyway, they've they just inquired like whether we could play their wedding. It's going to be like a very different vibe. Like they want it to be quirky, and like when we play, they want it to be like kind of like a gig and stuff like that. And so it's going to be an interesting one for us because it's the first time we're doing something like that. It's at a proper wedding venue, but it's like going to be very like dark and quirky, and the couple want it to they wanted different things to like show off aspects of their relationship. And yeah, quite honoured that we're one of those things. So that would be really fun and interesting for us to do. But that's it. After that, because we want to do that thing we were talking about before and just stop booking shows for the rest of the year and actually use the time to get together and finish off some new music so that we actually have new music to play for gigs next year.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Joel and Charlie, for coming on. It's been great to have a chat with you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks in Derby.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
See you soon.
That's the end of that episode then. So thank you as always for listening. We hope you enjoyed our chat with Charlie and Joel. Keep an eye out on our socials for more content in the lead up and after Derby Alt Fest. We're on Instagram, Twitter and Threads at Ready to Mosh Cast, and Facebook, TikTok and YouTube at Ready to Mosh. And we'll be back again soon with another episode. Make it mosh, moog.